I'm about to sign a law that says no men in women's restrooms. This is just common sense.
All right, that was Governor Greg Abbott here in the state of Texas signing the new bathroom bill into law. So we'll get into some of the details on that and then see what both sides are saying, at least a couple people from both sides. It's from Breitbart. Texas Governor Abbott signs transgender bathroom bill into law. Texas Governor Abbott has signed legislation banning transgender people from accessing restrooms and other facilities, including domestic violence shelters and prisons that align with their gender identity. Abbott, a Republican, signed the legislation Monday, sharing a video of it on X, saying this is just common sense. Abbott signed the Senate Bill 8 after Texas House passed it 86-45 on August 28th. He says, I signed the law banning men in women's restrooms. The bill, which takes effect December 4th, requires people to use facilities such as bathrooms and restrooms in government-owned buildings, including schools and universities that align with their gender assigned at birth. Other facilities affected include family violence shelters, prisons, and jails. Organizations that violate the law can face a $25,000 fine for the first offense and $125,000 for the second time. Let's hope that more follows suit. Rep. Angela Orr, a sponsor of SB 8, said in a statement after Abbott announced her bill had been signed, this is a common sense policy that protects women and girls of Texas. The bill passed amid a larger conservative push to pass legislation affecting the rights of health and healthcare of LGBTQ Americans, although specifically targeting transgender Americans. The Lone Star State GOP lawmakers have been trying to pass a so-called bathroom ban since 2017, but were unable to get it through the House until this summer. And I did look at some video on that, and dating back 8 years of Governor Abbott speaking about a bill similar to this, and hasn't passed, and then finally it did this year. The American Civil Liberties Union of Texas was swift in rebuking Abbott for signing SB 8 into law, saying it will encourage gender policing by those who seek to attack transgender people or simply those who don't adhere to stereotypical gender roles. This law puts anyone at risk who doesn't seem masculine or feminine enough to a random stranger, including cisgender girls and women this bill purports to protect. This bill is bad for trans and intersex people, bad for cisgender people, bad for business, bad for public health and safety, bad for Texas. Transgender people have always been here and always will be. According to Every Texan, a nonprofit that researches equitable policy solutions, there are an estimated 122,000 transgender people in the state of Texas, including nearly 30,000 youth. So a quarter are youth. That's crazy. The Movement Advance Project states there are 19 states with some form of bathroom ban, including 2 states that make it a criminal offense. All right, so let's get into what each side is saying about this.
It impacts a lot of buildings, from the Capitol to your local library.
We spoke with Landon Ritchie outside of the state capitol this week, just one of the buildings that will fall under the guidance of Senate Bill 8.
By law, I, as a transgender man, would be required to use women's facilities.
Under the bill that's expected to soon get a signature from the governor, government entities are required to put in place policies to make sure people are using the bathroom of their biological sex. School districts, counties, and cities will set their own enforcement procedures or risk tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines for violations. Supporters of the bill say it's meant to keep women and children safe from what they call bad actors.
No girl shall ever have to fear going to the restroom or locker room and have to look over her shoulder to feel that a male is there. So this is very important legislation to protect her dignity and privacy.
But Ritchie says it's a direct attack on transgender Texans that puts others at risk as well.
It's going to embolden a culture of surveillance.
I mean, if a woman identifies as a man and they go into a girl's restroom, I think a lot of women and young girls feel very uncomfortable. That's just my opinion. And we've seen certain cases where things have gotten pretty dangerous.
Surveillance and vigilante reporting against anybody who someone doesn't think should be in the quote-unquote correct bathroom.
Republican State Senator Mays Middleton, the sponsor of the bill, says people who make reports will have to do so under oath.
There's ample due process, there is no vigilantism, and it makes sure that it's actually enforced in a meaningful way.
But Ritchie isn't confident the bill will live up to its Women's Privacy Act title and says it will have other consequences.
It is a broad attempt to dictate where trans people are allowed to exist in public life.
Thank you for watching. Please hit the
Yeah, so there you have that. Bathroom bill signed into law here in the state of Texas. And look, this was not a, when I was growing up, when I was in school, I had never ever seen a transgender person in any restaurant. I've never seen anybody that identifies as anything other than man or woman. I'm just saying what I saw growing up, middle school, elementary school, middle school, high school. There were boys and girls who were gay, but you still went to the if you were a gay man, you go into the men's restroom. If you're a gay woman, you went to the women's restroom. And that's just how it was. Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments about this. Is this just a common sense bill signed by the governor, or do you think that this targets a certain group? I know there are opposing sides on this, but I will put a poll as well on my channel. You can vote on that, see if you agree with this or not. I think this is common sense, where I stand on this. Sign this bill into law, but they're going to be able to disagree. So if you disagree with it, let me know. If you agree with it, common sense, you think more states should adopt this, let me know what you think. And is this the appropriate way to go about this? Finding a $25,000 fine for the first offense and then a $125,000 fine for the second. That's pretty. So yeah, let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.